Spinning Bars with Cakes is an Amazon Prime film. It's based on a true story of a woman who would make cakes, go to bars with her friends to basically find a man. So that's the premise of the film. It's actually quite a good film. There are aspects of it that are quite sad. I'm not going to spoil it by giving you the whole kind of premise of it, but it does have a little bit of an upbeat ending. But there's a couple of things I noticed. There was one scene when she was making a cake and she took the butter directly from the fridge, put it straight into the bowl and started mixing it. Girl, butter don't work like that. You have to take it out, leave it out overnight to soften. And sometimes even then, especially if it's cold, it's still too hard. So you've got to zap it in the microwave. And there was another scene where she decorated a cake with Cocoa Pops. And I was like, why did I never ever think about that when I used to decorate cakes? So if I ever do make cakes again, I mean, I very rarely make cakes now, very rarely. I'll definitely use that idea. But it kind of got me thinking into how cake plays an important aspect in some films. So I thought I'd just go through a couple of them with you, because there may be films that you may not have seen or you may not have really thought much about the fact that cake kind of plays an important part. So first up is Matilda. Now, if you haven't seen Matilda, please see it. It's such a good film. So there's a scene in Matilda where there's a character called Bruce Bogtrotter, and he has been found to been stealing cake. Now the headmistress, who is really, really horrible, she finds out and she forces him to eat this chocolate cake. I think it was the cake they actually stole. Now this is in front of the whole school, and she's forcing him to eat it, and he's like, I can't eat anymore, I'm gonna be sick. And she's like, no, you will eat it. And then what happens is all the children kind of egg him on and support him, and then he just kind of gets his motivation to finish it, and he finishes it. And the cake is a really luxurious chocolate cake, and there have been other cake bakers who have actually made cakes based on this cake. One particular cake maker, Get Baked, actually has a cake called Bruce, kind of based on this cake, and it's a really luxurious cake. It's got 12 layers of cake. I've actually bought this, and I tell you, it's an amazing cake. Some people quibbled about the price, but when you see how much you get and how heavy it is and how big it is, it's definitely worth it. So if you haven't tried it, you can buy it. They're based in Leeds, but you can order online, and I ordered online, and it's highly recommended. They do have kind of variants of it as well. At the moment, they're possibly maybe bringing in a Biscoff version, which if they do, yes, I'm definitely getting that. Next up is Bridesmaids with Kristen Wiig, who's the main character. Again, if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's absolutely hilarious. But there's a scene where she makes a single cupcake, and it's kind of what's been happening up in her life. She had a cake business, it went bust. Her boyfriend and her split up. Her and her friend, her best friend, who she thought she would be chosen as chief bridesmaid, and she wasn't, and everything just kind of falling on top of her. So she decides to make this single cupcake, and I'm just like, all this, putting the oven on, getting the ingredients, getting the cupcake pan for one single solitary cupcake. And then it's not just she just bakes it. After she bakes it, she does this elaborate icing, sugar paste. It's like a sort of lily flower, and then she sits and eats it, and it just seems quite significant because it's just kind of her looking back on what her life was and what it is now, and just kind of being upset about it, but knowing that actually when it comes down to it, she can still bake a good cupcake. And finally, we have Mrs. Doubtfire, starring the late Robin Williams. So Mrs. Doubtfire, basically about Robin Williams' character and his wife split up, and he wants to spend more time with the children. So he finds out they're looking for a nanny, and he kind of dresses himself up as a nanny, and so that he can spend more time with the children. And there's a scene where he forgets, I don't know, I can't really remember, but he hasn't got his sort of mask on, and I think there's somebody from somebody from some authority coming to check up on him. So what he does is he dunks his head in it's either cream cheese, it's either cream cheesecake or buttercream cake, so to look like he has a face mask on. And it's just quite a well-known scene and quite a good scene. And I suppose it's the case of, you know, cake helping your disguise. So that's it. I think it just goes to show that, you know, people think about cake, oh, you know, what is cake? It's just flour, eggs and sugar, it's nothing. But the fact that these films, and I know there are some other films as well, kind of it highlights how important cake can be in context of a film. So let me know in the comments if you've seen any of the films that I've mentioned, but also let me know about any other films where cake is featured heavily in and is part of the main storyline, because like I said, I've already done 3 and I know there's many more. Until next time, cake lovers.